The 1971 D. Kennedy half dollar is a significant coin in the history of American numismatics, representing a major turning point both in metal composition and in the cultural legacy of U.S. coinage. This half dollar, minted at the Denver Mint and marked with the D mint mark, belongs to the popular Kennedy half dollar series, which was first introduced in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy, who was assassinated in November 1963. The coin's introduction came only months after his death, and it was designed to commemorate his leadership and enduring national legacy. The obverse design features a striking profile portrait of President Kennedy facing left, created by Gilroy Roberts, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time. The word Liberty arches around the top rim, while the motto, "In God We Trust," appears just below the chin, and the date 1971 is placed at the bottom. To the right of the date, the small D mint mark identifies its origin from the Denver Mint in Colorado. The reverse design, created by Frank Gasparo, depicts the presidential seal, featuring a heraldic eagle with a shield on its chest, clutching an olive branch in its right talon, and a bundle of arrows in its left, symbolizing peace and military readiness. Above the eagle's head are 13 stars representing the original colonies, along with a ring of 50 smaller stars symbolizing the states. The inscriptions United States of America and half dollar encircle the design. This reverse imagery mirrors the official seal of the President of the United States, emphasizing national unity, power, and dignity, qualities deeply associated with Kennedy's legacy. The year 1971 marked a pivotal change in the half dollar's composition. From 1965 to 1970, the Kennedy half dollar was struck with 40% silver and 60% copper, but in 1971, the U.S. Mint made a historic decision to remove silver entirely from circulation coins. Thus, the 1971 D issue became the first regular issue Kennedy half dollar made entirely of a copper, nickel-clad composition, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This change aligned with broader economic measures responding to the rising cost of silver and the ongoing transition toward non-precious metal coinage across denominations. The coin's weight is 11.34 grams, its diameter is 30.6 millimeters, and it has a reeded edge. In terms of production, the Denver Mint struck a massive total of 302,097,424 half dollars in 1971, making it one of the most heavily minted issues of the series. Because of this high mintage and the absence of silver content, the 1971 D. Kennedy half dollar holds primarily historical and collectible rather than intrinsic value. Circulated examples typically trade for face value, while uncirculated or mint state specimens can be worth slightly more, depending on condition and luster. Mint state, MS grades of MS, 65 or higher can fetch a few dollars on the collector market, though special varieties such as double die obverse, DDO, or die clash errors can command significantly higher premiums. A few examples with exceptional strike quality and deep, mirror-like surfaces are graded as proof-like, PL, which are quite rare for this date and thus sought after by advanced numismatists. The 1971 D. Kennedy half dollar also stands as a reflection of American history in the early 1970s, a period of social and political transformation. The removal of silver from circulating coins symbolized the end of an era when U.S. coinage carried intrinsic metallic value. Economically, the early 1970s saw inflationary pressures and changing global monetary dynamics, leading the United States to officially abandon the gold standard under President Richard Nixon in 1971. This year also saw shifts in national identity and the continuing influence of the Kennedy presidency, which still represented youth, hope, and progress in the collective American consciousness. Thus, even though the 1971 D. half dollar is not rare, it remains a tangible artifact of a time when the nation was redefining its economic and symbolic relationship with money. From a numismatic perspective, this coin's importance lies not in rarity, but in its role as the first modern-clad half dollar. It marks the transition from silver-based to base metal circulation coinage in the United States. Collectors often include it in typesets to represent the post-silver era of American coinage. Many still find sentimental value in Kennedy half dollars, as they continue to serve as both circulating coins, though rarely seen in daily use, and collector's items produced by the U.S. Mint in annual sets. The Kennedy half dollar series remains one of the longest-running designs in modern U.S. coinage history, second only to the Lincoln cent. In summary, the 1971 D. Kennedy half dollar is a cornerstone piece in American numismatics, marking the beginning of a new era in U.S. coinage while preserving the powerful memory of a beloved president. It embodies artistic excellence, technological evolution in minting, and cultural continuity. Although its face value remains 50 cents, its deeper worth lies in its story. A story of transition, remembrance, and the enduring image of John F. Kennedy, whose profile continues to shine on American coinage more than half a century after his death next top. The 1972 United States half dollar, commonly known as the 1972 Kennedy half dollar, stands as both a symbol of American history and a continuation of a coin design that has endured since the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963. This coin represents a nation's admiration for its fallen leader and reflects the social, political, and numismatic atmosphere of the early 1970s. The obverse front of the coin features a detailed left-facing portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Chief Engraver Gilroy Roberts, while the reverse back displays the presidential seal, created by engraver Frank Asparo, depicting a heraldic eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, surrounded by 50 stars representing the states of the Union. The coin's inscriptions include Liberty across the top, the motto, In God We Trust, and the year 1972 placed beneath Kennedy's portrait. The reverse features the inscriptions United States of America and half dollar, reinforcing its denomination and national identity. The 1972 Kennedy half dollar was struck primarily at the Philadelphia No Mint Mark and Denver D Mint Mark mints, with a limited proof issue from the San Francisco S Mint Mark mint. All regular circulation strikes of the 1972 half dollar were composed of a copper-nickel clad alloy, a change introduced in 1971 that replaced the earlier 40% silver composition used from 1965 through 1970. The coin has a standard diameter of 30.6 millimeters, a weight of 11.34 grams, and a reeded edge. The switch to base metal was part of the U.S. Mint's broader policy to eliminate silver from circulating coins due to the rising cost of silver and its hoarding by the public. The result was a coin made for circulation that symbolized affordability and practicality in the modern American economy of the 1970s. Despite being released for general use, the Kennedy half dollar rarely circulated widely by 1972 because Americans tended to save them as keepsakes, either out of respect for Kennedy or because of the coin's distinctive appearance and size. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 153 million coins, while the Denver Mint struck about 141 million, making 1972 a year of high production. The San Francisco Mint issued a small number of proof coins, approximately 3.26 million, for collectors. Among the coins struck that year, the most notable varieties are those related to the reverse design hub differences, known as Type 1, Type 2, and Type 3 reverses, which can be distinguished by variations in the shape and spacing of the letters in United States of America and half dollar. The Type 2 reverse, which originated from a proof die, is the rarest and most sought after among collectors, making it a numismatic highlight for the year. Coins showing this variety can command premium prices, especially in uncirculated or proof condition, as they represent a minor but important minting anomaly that intrigues specialists. From a historical perspective, the 1972 half dollar was issued during a period of significant transition in American culture and politics. The Vietnam War was still ongoing, the Watergate scandal was emerging, and economic pressures were beginning to reshape national priorities. Yet the image of John F. Kennedy on the half dollar continued to evoke a sense of optimism, youth, and idealism associated with his presidency. The coin served as both a memorial and a reminder of the aspirations of a generation that had witnessed his vision for the new frontier. In addition, The half-dollar's limited use in daily transactions made it increasingly a collector's coin rather than a true medium of exchange. Many rolls and bags of 1972 halves were set aside by banks and collectors, preserving them in excellent condition. In the numismatic market, the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar is generally common in circulated grades, with modest value reflecting its high mintage and base metal composition. However, uncirculated examples with brilliant luster, sharp details, or special mint sets can carry added value. The proof versions from San Francisco are particularly admired for their mirror-like surfaces and high-quality strikes, while coins exhibiting exceptional toning or striking errors, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or planchet flaws, are prized by specialists. The coin's enduring appeal lies not in its metallic content, but in its symbolic legacy, a blend of artistry, historical reverence, and nostalgia that continues to resonate with collectors and the public alike. Thus, the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar remains a significant piece of American numismatic heritage, a coin that reflects both the technological transition of U.S. minting and the emotional resonance of Kennedy's memory. Although minted in vast numbers, each example serves as a miniature monument to a period when the nation sought unity and progress in the face of change. Its enduring presence in coin collections across the world ensures that the ideals embodied by John F. Kennedy and the artistic mastery of Roberts and Gasparo continue to be honored more than half a century later. Next top. The 1776 to 1976 D. Kennedy half-dollar, minted in Denver, is a special bicentennial commemorative coin issued by the United States Mint to celebrate the 200th anniversary of American independence. This coin holds a remarkable place in U.S. numismatic history, not only for its symbolic design but also for its connection to one of the most significant milestones in the nation's story. The coin belongs to the Kennedy half-dollar series, first introduced in 1964 following the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States. The bicentennial issue stands out due to its dual date, 1776 to 1976, which honors both the year of the Declaration of Independence and the year of its bicentennial celebration. Minted at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D mint mark located on the coin's obverse, this half-dollar was struck in vast quantities for circulation and collectors. The obverse side, designed by Gilroy Roberts, retains the portrait of President John F. Kennedy facing left, with the word Liberty inscribed above and the national motto, "In God We Trust," divided on either side of the neck truncation. The dual date 1776 to 1976 appears below the bust, marking the coin's commemorative purpose rather than a typical single-year issue. The reverse side of the coin was specially redesigned by Seth G. Huntington for the bicentennial celebration. Instead of the traditional presidential seal seen on regular Kennedy half-dollars, the reverse depicts Independence Hall in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the historic site where both the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution were debated and signed. Above the image of Independence Hall are the words, "United States of America," while below it appears the denomination, half-dollar. The national motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one, is inscribed to the right of the building, reinforcing the nation's unity and diversity. The coin's composition for general circulation is 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to an inner core of pure copper, giving it a total weight of 11.34 grams and a diameter of 30.6 millimeters. Special collector's editions, however, were struck in 40% silver and sold in mint and proof sets to commemorate the event more distinctively. The edge of the coin is reeded, consistent with other half-dollars of the period. The bicentennial Kennedy half-dollar was produced in massive numbers, over 287 million pieces at the Denver Mint alone, ensuring its availability and affordability even decades later. It was issued as part of a larger bicentennial coin program that also included specially designed quarters and Eisenhower dollars, all featuring the dual date and unique reverse designs commemorating the nation's founding. These coins began entering circulation in 1975, though they all bear the 1776 to 1976 date to unify the commemoration. The Kennedy half-dollar from this series was not only a medium of exchange, but also a circulating symbol of patriotism and pride, widely collected and cherished by Americans of all ages. For collectors, its historical significance lies not in rarity, but in representation, a physical embodiment of the enduring American spirit 2 centuries after independence. While circulated examples are common and typically hold face value, uncirculated and proof specimens, especially those with deep cameo contrast or struck in silver, carry higher numismatic value. The 1976 D version is notable for strong strikes and brilliant luster when preserved in mint condition, often grading highly by professional services. In terms of cultural importance, the 1776 to 1976 half-dollar embodies the ideal of liberty and remembrance, connecting 2 pivotal moments in American history: the birth of the United States in 1776 and its celebration of progress and unity 200 years later. The coin remains a popular keepsake, a teaching tool, and a patriotic token that bridges the past and present. It serves as a reminder of the vision of independence that shaped the nation and the collective achievements of 2 centuries of American democracy. Even today, the bicentennial Kennedy half-dollar continues to inspire pride and nostalgia, standing as one of the most iconic commemorative coins ever produced by the United States Mint next top. The 1980 D. Kennedy half-dollar is a fascinating piece of modern American numismatic history, bridging the patriotic legacy of the United States with the enduring memory of one of its most charismatic presidents, John F. Kennedy. Minted at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D mint mark located just below Kennedy's neck truncation on the obverse, this coin is composed primarily of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. The coin weighs 11.34 grams, has a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, and a reeded edge, maintaining the standard specifications for half-dollars introduced after the United States transitioned away from silver coinage in 1971. The 1980 D issue marks the continuation of a period when the Kennedy half-dollar circulated less frequently in daily commerce, but remained a staple for collectors, bankrolls, and commemorative purposes, symbolizing both the nation's political heritage and numismatic evolution. The obverse of the 1980 D half-dollar features the enduring portrait of President John Fitzgerald Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts, the 9th chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. This design was first used in 1964, shortly after Kennedy's tragic assassination in November 1963, and it remains one of the most emotionally resonant coin designs in American history. Roberts' depiction captures Kennedy's profile facing left, with a look of determined calm, representing optimism and leadership. The inscription's Liberty arcs across the top, with the national motto, "In God We Trust," placed just beneath Kennedy's chin, divided by the profile. The date 1980 appears at the bottom. The D mint mark, denoting the Denver Mint, is found just above the date, indicating where this specific coin was struck. Over 33 million Kennedy half-dollars were produced at the Denver facility in 1980, a substantial mintage reflecting both ongoing collector demand and limited circulation use, as the denomination had by then largely disappeared from everyday transactions. On the reverse side, designed by Frank Asparo, the 10th chief engraver of the U.S. Mint, appears the presidential seal of the United States, a powerful symbol of national pride and authority. The central motif features a heraldic eagle with its wings spread wide, grasping an olive branch in its right talon, symbolizing peace, and a bundle of 13 arrows in its left, symbolizing military readiness. The eagle's breast bears a shield, representing the defense of the nation, while in its beak it holds a ribbon inscribed with the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. Above the eagle's head is a ring of 13 five-pointed stars, surrounded by a halo of rays and encircled by 50 stars symbolizing the 50 states of the Union. The inscriptions United States of America and half-dollar form the outer rim legends, reinforcing the coin's national identity and denomination. The reverse design, derived from the official seal of the President of the United States, conveys themes of unity, vigilance, and peace, values central to Kennedy's own presidency. The year 1980 sits within an interesting transitional period for the Kennedy half-dollar series. By this time, the coin had ceased to circulate widely in the United States as inflation and changes in consumer behavior made 50-cent coins increasingly impractical for everyday use. However, the coin remained in active production primarily for collectors, special sets, and banking distribution. The Denver Mint's output of over 33 million pieces reflects this dual purpose, satisfying both practical and numismatic demand. Collectors today appreciate the 1980 D. Kennedy half for its clean, well-struck surfaces and bright luster, particularly in uncirculated MS condition. While the coin holds minimal face value in circulation, pristine specimens graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC can hold modest premiums due to their quality and appeal to series enthusiasts. Additionally, coins with sharp strikes, full details in Kennedy's hair, and strong luster are considered the most desirable examples of this issue. From a historical perspective, the Kennedy half-dollar serves as both a numismatic tribute and a cultural artifact. Introduced in 1964, just months after Kennedy's death, the coin was conceived as a national memorial to the fallen president, replacing the Franklin half-dollar that had been minted since 1948. Its debut saw an overwhelming public response. Millions of Americans hoarded the coins as keepsakes rather than spending them. This emotional connection endured through subsequent decades, turning the Kennedy half into a symbol of American remembrance, civic pride, and political idealism. By 1980, nearly 2 decades after its introduction, the coin's design had become iconic, and its continued production reaffirmed the United States Mint's commitment to preserving Kennedy's legacy within the nation's circulating coinage. In terms of numismatic value, most 1980 D. Kennedy half-dollars found today are in circulated condition and worth around their face value of 50 cents, though uncirculated examples in mint sets often sell for $1 to $3, and those in high mint state grades or with exceptional eye appeal can reach $10 or more. The coin's metallic composition, copper-nickel clad, makes it of little intrinsic metal value compared to the silver issues of 1964 to 1970, but its historical and symbolic significance keeps it an enduring favorite among collectors. Some enthusiasts collect Kennedy halves by date and mint mark, tracing the subtle changes in minting quality, design sharpness, and mint output across the decades. Ultimately, the 1980 D. Kennedy half-dollar is more than just a piece of metal. It represents an era in American history defined by optimism, tragedy, and remembrance. It carries forward the image of a leader whose presidency inspired a generation and whose legacy remains woven into the nation's coinage. Even though it rarely passes through the hands of modern spenders, the 1980 D. half-dollar continues to hold a special place in U.S. numismatics as a tangible link between past and present, a silent testament to the enduring power of national symbols and the art of coinage that keeps history alive in our daily lives. Next top. The 1983 D. Kennedy half-dollar is a coin rich in both historical and numismatic significance, representing not only an enduring tribute to President John F. Kennedy but also a reflection of the evolving U.S. economy and minting technology of the early 1980s. Struck at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D mint mark located just above the date on the obverse, this coin is part of the long-running Kennedy half-dollar series, which was first introduced in 1964 following the assassination of President Kennedy in November 1963. The design was created by Gilroy Roberts, obverse, and Frank Gasparo, reverse, two of the most respected engravers in U.S. mint history. The obverse features a left-facing portrait of President Kennedy with the word Liberty arching across the top and the national motto, "In God We Trust," divided by the truncation of Kennedy's neck, with the date 1983 below. The reverse depicts the presidential seal, featuring an eagle with a shield on its chest, holding an olive branch in its right talon symbolizing peace, and arrows in its left representing military strength. Surrounding the eagle are 50 stars, symbolizing the 50 states of the Union, with the inscriptions United States of America and half-dollar encircling the design. The 1983 D. Kennedy half-dollar was minted during a period when half-dollars were seldom seen in daily commerce. By the 1980s, these coins were primarily produced for use in casinos, vending machines, and collector rolls rather than for general circulation, as inflation had diminished their practical purchasing power. The 1983 D issue was struck in copper-nickel clad composition, with an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The coin weighs 11.34 grams, has a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, and features a reeded edge, all standard specifications for half-dollars since 1971, when silver was fully removed from the circulating half-dollar series. The Denver Mint produced over 32.4 million of these coins, a moderate mintage compared to earlier years, but still enough to make them relatively common in circulated condition today. However, examples in high mint state grades, particularly MS 66 or higher, are scarcer due to the quality control and coin handling practices of the time, making pristine, uncirculated examples desirable among collectors. From a historical perspective, the 1983 D half-dollar represents an era of transition in U.S. coinage and economy. The early 1980s were marked by economic recovery following a period of high inflation and recession in the late 1970s. The U.S. Mint was modernizing its production facilities, and the use of clad metals became the standard for nearly all circulating denominations. The Kennedy half-dollar itself remained a coin of symbolic and commemorative value rather than one of practical utility. Many Americans continue to associate the coin with national pride and the memory of Kennedy's leadership, particularly his calls for civic duty and unity. While 1983 marked no special anniversary or commemorative event for the Kennedy series, it continued to carry cultural and emotional weight, often appearing in proof sets and mint sets purchased by collectors. In terms of numismatic interest, the 1983 D. Kennedy half-dollar has several varieties and notable features. Collectors sometimes seek examples with strong strikes, full details in Kennedy's hair, and minimal contact marks, as these traits significantly enhance the coin's visual appeal and grade. There are no widely recognized major die varieties for this year, though minor die clashes, double dies, or planchet errors can occur and are of special interest to error coin collectors. In circulated condition, the coin typically carries only face value, but in uncirculated mint state, it can be worth between $2 to $10, depending on luster and strike quality. High-grade certified examples, MS 67 and above, may fetch $100 or more, particularly those with exceptional eye appeal. Proof versions of the Kennedy half-dollar were also minted in San Francisco in 1983 with mirror-like finishes and deeper details, though these bear the S mint mark instead of D. Culturally, the Kennedy half-dollar remains one of the most beloved coins in American history, serving as a living memorial to the 35th president and a snapshot of 20th century American idealism. The 1983 D issue captures this ongoing legacy, bridging the gap between the coin's initial emotional impact in the 1960s and its transformation into a collectible object of modern numismatic study. It tells the story of how U.S. coinage evolved from silver artistry to industrial precision, while still preserving national symbols of unity, liberty, and memory. Today, the 1983 D. Kennedy half-dollar continues to be a staple of American coin collections, admired for its design, historical continuity, and the enduring reverence it carries for a president whose vision and charisma still resonate in American consciousness. Next top. The 1990 D. Kennedy half-dollar is a coin issued by the United States Mint as part of the long-running Kennedy half-dollar series, which began in 1964 to commemorate President John F. Kennedy following his tragic assassination in November 1963. Struck at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D mint mark located just above the date on the obverse side, the 1990 D half-dollar holds a special place as a continuation of a design that has become an enduring symbol of modern American numismatics. The obverse features the left-facing portrait of President Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts, who was the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time of the coin's introduction. His initials, GR, appear below Kennedy's truncation of the neck. Above the portrait, the word liberty is boldly inscribed, arching across the upper rim, while the national motto, "In God We Trust," appears divided by the lower neckline, with the year 1990 displayed prominently at the bottom. The reverse side, designed by Frank Asparo, displays a modified version of the presidential seal, an elegant heraldic eagle with its wings spread wide, clutching an olive branch in its right talon to symbolize peace and a bundle of arrows in its left to signify military readiness. Above the eagle's head is a circle of 50 stars representing the states of the Union, and it carries a banner in its beak bearing the national motto E pluribus unum, which translates to "out of many, one." Surrounding the design are the inscriptions United States of America and $50, giving the coin a regal and distinctly patriotic appearance. By 1990, the Kennedy $50 was struck primarily for circulation, though demand from the general public had declined significantly since the 1970s, as the coin was seldom used in daily transactions. Instead, most $50 of this period were distributed to banks in limited numbers or sold to collectors in U.S. mint sets. The 1990 D $50 was struck in copper-nickel clad composition, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The coin weighs 11.34 grams, measures 30.6 millimeters in diameter, and features a reeded edge. The Denver Mint produced a substantial 22,849,120 coins that year, ensuring that the 1990 D is a common issue, readily available to collectors and hobbyists alike. While the intrinsic metal value of the 1990 D $50 remains modest, close to face value, the coin's interest lies in its symbolism, its link to American history, and its continuation of a design that has spanned generations. For collectors, pristine examples in mint state, MS, condition, particularly those graded MS 65 or higher, hold greater numismatic value, often ranging from $5 to $15, depending on luster, strike, and surface preservation. Proof versions struck at the San Francisco Mint, bearing the S mint mark, were also released for collectors that year, showcasing a brilliant mirror-like finish distinct from circulation strikes. Historically, the Kennedy $50 serves as a poignant reminder of a nation's grief and admiration for its fallen leader. Even decades after 1964, the coin continued to embody the spirit of unity and optimism associated with Kennedy's presidency. The 1990 D issue thus represents not only a piece of U.S. currency, but also a small monument in metal to a transformative era in American politics and culture. Its enduring design, high production quality, and symbolic heritage make it a timeless collector's item, one that connects numismatists with the story of leadership, loss, and legacy in 20th century America. Next top.